All right, we got the 4.2 homework help. So let's just do a few of these. Okay, so this first one is the ordered pair solution to the equation. So let's just see this. So is 0, 2 a solution to the equation? And let's just do this in our head. When you put a 0 in, you get a 2. It is. So A is. I'll go ahead and maybe use my highlighter here. Yes, that one does work out. How about the next one? Is 1, 2 a solution? Well, no, because 1 plus 2 is 3, not 2. So that one is not a solution. How about negative 1, 1? Well, when I put a negative 1 in, what happens? So y equals negative 1 plus 2 is 1. So I guess I should have said 1 there. So that is true. That one also works. And then how about this next one? Negative 3, 1. So again, I'm plugging in a y equals negative 3 plus 2. Yes, that's a solution too. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. And so the question is, are these points on the line? So here's the graph of the line. 0, 2 is right there. It's on the line. How about negative 1, 1? That's on the line. And then negative 3, negative 1. Yep, right there. That's not a coincidence. When a point is a solution to the line, it will necessarily be on the line. So what we do is we leverage that fact to help us graph lines. We are often given lines like in number 59. We're given equations of lines and we need to graph them. So when the values are fairly nice small integer values, this is really the way to go to graph them. So I will choose values for x to find y. And I'm just going to choose my values over here. So I'm not going to do these. You need to do them, but I'm going to. So this is number 59 I'm doing. So I'm going to choose 3 values. 0 is always a good choice. And let's choose 1 and maybe 2. Okay, so when x is 0, what do I get for y? Well, I get negative 1. How about when x is 1? 3 times 1 is 3, minus 1 is 2. Again, all I'm doing is taking that 1 and plugging it in for x. How about when I plug a 2 in for x? 3 times 2 is 6, minus 1 is 5. Again, what am I doing there? I'm saying y equals 3 times 2 minus 1. That's 5. That's where I get the 5. So here are my 3 points. I've got 0, negative 1, 1, 2, and 2, 5. So I plot those points. 0, down negative 1. I'm just going to call that negative 1. 1, 2, over 1, and then they're going to go up 2. And then 2, 5. There's 2. Call that 5. And then we draw a nice straight line. There we go. Now what about number 71? 1/2 plus 2. So let me make my little t-chart here. So what are some nice values for x? And let's just choose 2. How about when x is 0? So when x is 0, what do I get for y? Well, 1/2 of 0 is 0 plus 2 is 2. Now what's another value you want to choose for x? I wouldn't want to do 1, although I could. Wouldn't be that hard. But let's make life easy, and let's choose a number that's a multiple of my denominator. So let's choose 2. So 1/2 of 2 is 1, plus 2 is 3. So now I've got my 2 points I'm going to plot. 0, 2. We'll call that 2, and put a dot. And then 2, 3. I'll call that 2. And then I'll go up one more here to 3. Again, there's my x-axis, there's my y, and I'll draw a nice straight line. And again, we are just sketching graphs. If we're really wanting to graph for real, we would use graph paper, or better yet, we'd use a computer to graph these to make really perfect looking graphs. So there are a couple of oddities that come up we talked about in class. We have horizontal and vertical lines. So for instance, when x equals negative 2, what does that mean? So here's my x-axis, Here's the y-axis. For every value of y, x is -2. So if I call that -2, I'm just going to have a nice straight line, vertical line, through -2. And I want to encourage you, when you're graphing these on paper, that you use a straight edge of some sort. It just makes the lines pop a little bit, makes me know that you know these are all straight lines. What about this next one? Y equals 3. So when y equals 3, there's x, there's y. Y equals 3, I'm going to go up to 3 on the y-axis. We're just going to call that 3. And I'll draw a nice horizontal line. And so in general, well, not in general, always, when we have y equals a number, it's a horizontal line. When we have x equals a number, it's a vertical line. Hope that helps.